Welcome to my CompTIA Network Plus N10-006 question reviews. We're looking at questions 1 through 5. Alright, so one of the first things that is extremely important to understand from the Network Plus is understanding the cable types and what medias they are. So, common cable types are like a crossover or a rollover, and a crossover is typically pattern A on one side, pattern B on the other side. A straight through is either A on both sides or B on both sides. And a rollover is typically what you do to program networking equipment like a Cisco router. So a crossover is used to connect like devices. A switch to a switch, a PC to a PC. A router and a PC are identical, so keep that in mind. A PC to a router, for communication purposes, typically will be a crossover, because a router is a dumb computer. If they're unlike devices, it'll be a straight through. Alright, so common media types are going to be like a shielded twisted pair or unshielded twisted pair. That's a copper type of cable. We have coax, which is another common copper type. Coax comes like RG6, RG58. Again, it's going to be the traditional coax, and it's copper. Next, we have fiber. That's going to be fiber optic cable. It's going to be light. And there is one more media type that's not a physical media type, which is going to be wireless. Normally, it's going to be one of these: copper, fiber, or wireless. Network segmentation. So, when you have a converged network, that's a data network that handles voice, video, and regular data traffic, segmentation becomes important, and that is separating the network or segmenting the network into like common areas. PCs on one network, printers on one network, and you're using, because they're all data, you may be doing something like a VLAN so that you have groups of a virtualized network for like traffic. You can also do this because security reasons. You may not want people to access different networks, but you may want everyone to have access to the printer network. When you segment, you can control access. How do we test firewall rules? Firewall rules, you can do replay. You can actually capture traffic and replay it to the firewall. You can get a traffic generator that should generate similar traffic to your real network, or you can capture things from a wiretap and then replay that or feed that into the firewall. And all of them will help. All of them should help your firewall and the security engineer see if the ACLs are correct, or if the firewall rules are correct. Know your common types of antenna types. Omnidirectional, that's full 360. Directional focuses more in one direction. Parabolic is going to be a tighter directional and allow you to go a little further. When we're talking wireless encryption, make sure you understand WEP, WPA, WPA2, and their differences. When we're talking WPA and WPA2, understand personal versus... Alright, sorry about that. I had to fix that. That wasn't personal versus private, that's personal versus enterprise. Essentially, make sure you understand that enterprise you can integrate with radius and personal you cannot. Alright, so moving on, let's look at WPA2 CCMP versus TKIP. So first of all, TKIP is not directly comparable to encryption types like AES. TKIP is an integrity check, so keep that in mind. So we're looking at TKIP versus AES-based CCMP, not just AES. Basically, TKIP is a lower end encryption protocol, and so you may not want to use it. If that's all you can do, better than nothing. So when we're looking at this, TKIP is a great way to go between WPA and WPA2, where CCMP is specifically tied to WPA2. So when possible, CCMP is the higher level encryption that you want. Understand business continuity, risk assessment, business impact analysis, and disaster recovery. Business continuity is encompassing the planning and preparation to ensure organizations can continue to operate after a serious incident or disaster. So this is the prelude to disaster recovery. Disaster recovery is the actual planning for the disaster, and you get together a disaster recovery plan. Business impact analysis is actually a plan that you outline critical systems and you rank them and prioritize them. Basically, with the BIA, it's predicting the consequences of a disruption of a key business function, and it allows you to rank them or prioritize them so that in a disaster you can figure out what systems to repair first based off of the impact to the business. Lastly is that risk assessment, and that is a systematic process or approach to evaluating potential risk that may be involved, and typically this allows you to look at how to identify each of the risks of a situation or an organization or business, and then you can start looking at each individual risk, figuring out how to mitigate those risks. Alright, those are questions 1 through 5. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I will try to get them answered as quickly as possible. Thank you.